has a ghost story that's been passed down through the generations. But what if those legends were true? My name is Miranda Young, and I'm the Ghost Biker. Good evening, everyone, and happy Thursday night. I am here live at the historic and very haunted historic Scott County Jail. And so I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I am again in the visitation room this week. We do have a flashlight tour going on here at the jail as we speak. Dr. Christy Sumner is leading that. Got a great group of people in here. And so because I've not got the garage completely set up yet over at my new house, I am here at the jail. So again, thank you all so much. Just want to say hello to a few people that's over here in the audience. We really appreciate you guys tuning in tonight because we have a fantastic show. And we're actually going to get to it because we do have one of the guests is going to have to step out a little bit early. So normally we do announcements here at the beginning, but instead we're going to hold that to the end because we're going to be promoting the big event that's coming on next weekend, which is the scholarship dart run that's named in honor of my dad. So just want to say hello to Mrs. Susan Purcell, Heath Edwards, Entity Vortex Paranormal Society. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Mr. Carl Gerald from Black Sky Paranormal, Brandon Cooper there from Shaman Sundays, and of course, Miss Sonia Thompson from The Walking Dead. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Like I said, we're going to get right to tonight's guest because I don't want to really waste any time with that. We'll get to announcements and events and different things that's going on because we do have a few special announcements coming up here with Ghost Biker and the jail here at the end. So I'm going to go ahead, read the bio for tonight's guest, and then we'll get right to the interview. Tonight we've actually got two special guests, and that's Mr. Gregg TJ Justice and Miss JB Coates. Gregg is the owner of Paranormal Adventures Event Management and WhoDunnit Murder Mystery Events. He's been a paranormal investigator since 2010 and is a Clairaudient Empath, Truth or Legends cast member, and he's also featured on My Ghost Story and Uncovering Wheeldon Documentary. Boo Crewe founder and part of the Paranormal Guys with Justin. Miss J.B. Coates is the author of the Obsidian Guardian Novels and has been featured on Kindred Spirits, the Uncovering Wheeldon Documentary, as well as numerous podcasts. She is also a Truth or Legends cast member and is featured talent for Old South Pittsburg Hospital and the haunted Harriman Hospital. So I'm going to go ahead and bring these two guests on, and we're going to get started with tonight's show. So please help me welcome Miss J.B. Coates and Gregg TJ Justice. Hey, guys.
Hello. So let me just say that intro is so badass.
Well, thank you.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, dang, we need to step up our game.
I know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I was like, that's nice.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I put that together myself. So I really appreciate that. That's a very nice compliment coming from you guys.
Yes.
So first off, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I know you both have busy schedules, and I appreciate you taking the time to spend with myself and this wonderful audience that's watching here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just got to say, we were talking about this before we came on live tonight. It's interesting, I'm sitting here in the visitation room and you're sitting somewhere that's kind of related.
I am in a liquor store with my liquor backdrop. And yes, what I do leads to what you do.
That's right. That's right.
So yes. And I might pop back and forth here because, customers.
Right. Right.
Then I'll send them to you.
There you go. Send them on over my way once you're done. So let's just kind of get in. We're going to go ahead and get into the interview. Why don't you tell us about how you guys met and how you work together?
Oh man, it's been years and years and years. Hi Heath. Um, so what has it been? About 6 years now, Greg?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we met at an event that was I forget where we were. Where were we? Yeah.
Dang, where was it?
I think it was at Old South Pittsburg.
I think so. Yeah.
So he was actually telling me that he was starting a event program, and I wanted to. I was with a different group at the time, and I wanted to do events. Nothing like leading people to investigate properly. And I wanted to be able to teach people that provoking is bad, and you don't, there's certain things you don't do while you're investigating, and then teaching them the proper way to elicit responses. And so I reached out to Greg, and we've been working together ever since, and we're actually pretty much family now.
Pretty much. Well, I remember that I was talking about it, and like at the time I was talking about creating my business. I was still kind of on the fence about it, like, well, yeah, I will, maybe I won't, and this and that. And what got me pushed over the edge to create the business with JB, she called me one day out of the blue when I was, it was in my mind, like, am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? Whatever. And JB's like, I want you to put events together for me. And I was like, okay, I guess we're going this way then. And it's been one hell of a ride ever since. So.
Now,
just some great locations. So like there's never a dull moment when it comes to our events.
No.
now you all are located here in Tennessee as well, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so as far as your events go, do you stick to sort of a centralized area, like a regional area, or do you all travel all over?
Well, we've been to Paducah, Kentucky. We've been to Pulaski, Tennessee. We've been to Columbia. We're looking at locations in Alabama. And so basically the Deep South, where I'm so comfortable. Thanks, Greg. I'm originally from Texas. And so when I moved to Tennessee, I thought, well, because everybody talks about the South, right? Everybody's like, the South, the South. And I'm like, well, I'm from Texas. I'm South.
Right.
No, it doesn't work that way. I'm Southwest. And South has a totally different connotation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't know.
Well, and it's really interesting. I'm always fascinated just how different the paranormal can be in different regions of the country, and just how regional, like the connections with the teams and everyone is. Because here in Tennessee, we have a ton of locations within a relatively close distance, just in this area. I mean, y'all are Middle Tennessee, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm over here in East Tennessee, and I know just right here at the jail, we have at least 3 locations with Haunted Harriman Hospital and Brushy Mountain Prison. We have 3 locations there that's just within 45 minutes of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm in Harriman at least twice a month. So, it's very different. And the activity is different.
Yeah.
Right. So, when you go to like California, you're not going to be looking for, a Civil War spirit, and the spirits are different and they'll react different. But I'm telling you right now, everybody has a blonde-haired little girl ghost.
And a woman in white,
yes,
and a crybaby bridge.
Well, let's talk about the dog. There's always a dog.
This is true. This is true. And it's interesting because whenever you talk about people, I mean, it seems like we all kind of know or know of each other in the different regions.
Right.
But it's really interesting because I always enjoy getting folks that are from the West over here because I don't really hear about a lot of locations and I don't really, I mean, obviously you've got, the ones out in Nevada and Utah and some of those places that are well known. But
Right.
I mean, over here, we don't hear about a lot of them and hear about a lot of the investigators over there.
No, and that's kind of, even with ghost hunters, right? They're not from over there.
No.
Most of the shows are people who are from, the east side of the country.
Hmm.
So, except for like Zap Baggins, but Nevada, really. So, but you really just don't get a whole lot from over there. I remember I met a team from Idaho, and I was like, really? like from like real Idaho?
Yeah, it's different. I know I'm going to be doing an event in South Dakota, and it's going to be the first one that they've had over there, and it's going to be in the Deadwood Sturgis area. And so, obviously, being a biker, I'm so extremely excited about that. But even more excited to reach out to a different audience. It was the same way when I did one in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Totally different audience to expand what we're doing, and then learn from the things that they're doing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in Texas, I've always been interested in the paranormal, but it was really hard to get into that niche, right? And so it was like unheard of. Like Texas just wasn't the state where you could really just do something. But I've heard of teams out of New Mexico, and New Mexico, man, that state is crazy off the charts haunted.
Yes, just with all the UFO activity and everything out there.
I did a video once. I was driving, my husband and I left El Paso, where I'm from, and we drove to Roswell before coming back through Oklahoma to come back to Tennessee. And I remember doing a video about and I'm like, what were these aliens looking for? Like, there's nothing out there. There's like nothing. And then you're like, what are they looking for? But I guess, you crash.
Right. So how being in that area and such, how did you get into the paranormal? Did the writing come first or did the paranormal come first?
The paranormal, I started trying to get into the niche while I was still in Texas, but didn't actually fulfill it until I moved to Tennessee. The writing actually kicked off everything because I died for 2.5 minutes. I gave birth to my best friend's son. I had to have an emergency C-section, and I bled to death. 2.5 minutes, I was gone. And when I woke up, everything was different. I don't know how else to explain it, but the only thing that I could remember were the characters in my books. And at the time, I had been going to college to be a medical administrator. Like, there was no, like, I was not going to be a writer, but sometimes it chooses you. And so I sat down one day and I started writing. I dropped out of college, and that was it.
Wow. Okay. And how did you end up getting into the paranormal, Gregg?
Well, I guess I had kind of always had weird things happening even when I was younger. The thing that I can remember the most is when I was 5, 6, my dad's brother, who had been passed away since I was about 1.5 years, 2 years old. I was really upset with my dad for some reason. I can't even remember the reason now. But he just appeared as a full-bodied apparition in my bedroom and said, that's your dad's job. He's just trying to take care of you. Don't be mad at him. And that was it. And like, he basically looked like a picture come to life, because the picture that was sitting on my grandma Justice's like nightstand, that's exactly how he appeared to me. And then I guess after that, maybe I kind of turned it off or didn't pay attention to it as much until my grandpa passed away in 2001. And when that happened, again, I was really upset in my room um, on the day of it was one of the days of his funeral, and I was laying on my bed, and I always have like a fan that I have on the dresser that I sleep with,
Mm-hmm.
and I had it on at the time, and it kept falling off and hit me on the foot, and it had been there for months, maybe even a year, never moved. Like it had those rubber feet on the bottom
Mm-hmm.
that it wouldn't move when it was on, and it fell and hit my foot 2 or 3 times. I kept picking it up, putting it back on the dresser, and then the last time it went over my feet, over my legs, and landed in the middle of the bed while it was still on.
Wow.
And I was like,
Okay.
and I was like, and I picked it back up, and I was like, all right, Papa, I know you're okay. And then it quit, and then a few years later, my nanny and my dad passed away. And my nanny, I was really close with her, and I just decided that life was too short not to do the things that you want to do, and I was going to figure out if there was something more on the other side than this life, and basically what got me started um, in the paranormal. I talked to some friends, and we decided to go to one of the top haunted locations in the country, Waverly Hills, and that's how it started out. So,
Well, you
What
went
a,
big.
I was going to say, what a place to
like,
cut your
go,
teeth.
yeah, it's like go big or go home.
Big is even an
You know what?
understatement.
We're
Yeah,
just gonna jump in this.
yeah, just like head first, feet first, everything first.
You swan dived right into the paranormal.
Yeah, pretty much.
And just want to tell the folks, if you have any questions for tonight's for tonight's guest, please feel free to put them over here in the comments section, and we will add those because they're going to share some evidence with us, as well as some places where you can purchase some of their books and such that they've got. So we'll get to that here in just a little bit, but just want to say, if you don't mind putting those questions in all caps, just so I make sure that I don't miss them here. We do have a comment here from
I
Carl.
was just looking at that one. Hi,
Yes.
Carl.
And so he's out of West
South
Virginia.
Pittsburgh, yeah, Old South Pittsburgh is amazing. It's an amazing location. And recently, with it being as cleaned up as it is, because Ronnie D is a staunch proponent of a safe paranormal environment. That's
Mhm.
why all of his locations are called PRC, Paranormal Research Centers. And
Mhm.
so everybody walks through the dark, and you don't want to trip on something and break something and, you know, hurt yourself badly. So he makes it so that all of these locations are super, super safe. And then you get the full effect because you're not afraid for yourself and your safety. But
Mhm.
yeah, Old South Pittsburgh is such a very active place. And I cannot tell you how many times I've been there and I've met a new entity on any given day, just randomly passing by.
Mhm.
So,
Or had something new happen. I can remember, I think the last event that I was with you, JB, down there, we had a group in the waiting area of the pharmacy, and like 5 or 6 of us heard a baby cry out of nowhere. And
yes.
you're like, where did that come from, you know?
I had a baby coo in there, and we were up there. It was me and another guy, and we were there in the nursery area. And I had headphones on as I was walking around, and I heard it in real time, and then went back, and you literally hear this baby just cooing in that area. It was that place. Probably some of I need to release them on here, but it was before I was doing Ghost Biker. It was when I was with another team, but I was investigating it myself that night
Mhm.
with another guy. And I tell you what, some of the evidence we captured we got the elevator dinging.
Yes.
And also, probably one of the most heart-wrenching EVPs I've ever captured. It was when you could sleep there. So it was before Ronnie D had taken it over. And I had recorders everywhere. And I had one in that long hall where they used to let folks sleep at. And got this woman just screaming, crying. And she says, please let me see him. And it makes you think of somebody who maybe had come in whose either child or husband or somebody had been injured or in critical condition.
That's the ICU section of the hospital. So that's more than possible. You know, it's really cool because you get validation. I know that we played with a boy with a ball, right? And he said his name was Adam. And you've heard about the boy named Buddy, right?
I have, yes. But go ahead and
yeah, Buddy is actually Adam. And Ronnie D and his historians went and found his gravestone. It's he was a real person. I think he was 4 or 5 years old. So yeah, they totally found it. And I thought they were totally two different entities, but it's not. It's one. His name was Adam.
Wow. And that's what's so good about Ronnie D and his team is the fact that they have taken such good care to make sure that not only that the location is preserved and well taken care of, but that the history is preserved and well taken care of. And he's very, you know, from experiences from what I've seen and heard others speak about, that he takes special care to make sure that the history is accurate and that he finds information.
Yeah, the stories about Jim were heartbreaking. They were heartbreaking, and none of it was true. None of it was true. Like when they talked about the needles that they found in where he lived, it's because he was diabetic and he was taking insulin. So like things like that can really hurt a location. And so he cleaned it up, like from head to toe, history to everything. He has cleaned it up. And I'm proud every time I walk in there. Yeah. Every time. And he's doing the same thing with Harriman.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. The owner that had it before Ronnie D, she was telling such horrendous stories about Jim that was totally untrue.
Yeah.
And we found evidence that he was like a set designer for
Barnum and Bailey
and Disney and all that. And he was an artist and he was a recording artist and all this stuff. And that was the stuff that got lost. And the lady that actually had it before Ronnie D, she was even kin to him. She was like his cousin or something. And she was like telling people he was a rapist and a drug addict and all this stuff. And it was just totally untrue.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Definitely. So, you know, I really applaud the team and Ronnie D for everything that they've done. And I don't mind associating myself with that. Yes, Heath, we know that you are bros.
Well, and I remember, so we've got Ronnie Anderson here, who is from Bedford Paranormal, and we were having a conversation when I saw him for the first time there at St. Albans, and we were talking about Old South Pit, and he's talking about a few things that he saw there with the Whistler, and because I think I also got a whistle. And I got like the weirdest, just like moans coming from the surgery area. And he also talks about the pharmacy getting a strange photo there. I hear nothing but good things about both of those locations. I know they're really active. And I know that my business partner, Dr. Christy Sumner, was just there at Harriman yesterday doing a live investigation with Ronnie.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. I forgot he just got back to Tennessee on Tuesday.
So Sonia asks, she says, what was your favorite place to investigate? That's a tough one, I know.
So I've got three favorites, and I have three reasons. Old South is definitely number one. It would be number one on anybody's list. Number two has got to be Octagon Hall, only because it's the only place in the United States that I know of right now where you get the trifecta, where you've got cryptids, you've got UFO activity, and you've got ghosts. I think it's a perfect opportunity for any one of those specialties to go out and find some really great evidence. Plus the Night Stalker's Bear,
Oh
he's
yeah.
man. You know what? You can't say nothing bad about them. They're great.
Yeah. All of the Night Stalkers are
They
just
really
such great
are
people.
fantastic.
Yes.
Then my third would have to be Harriman Hospital. And the reason why Harriman Hospital is on my list, even though it's a fairly new venue, is because it's a fairly new venue. I like the fact that I get to come in on the ground floor. I get to learn the history as they learn the history, and I get to add to the name pool from my investigations to try to bring out the history of the hospital. I think that's very important, and it just makes me feel kind of special. So those are my top three.
How about you, Greg?
I'm with JB on 1 and 2. My third one would actually be the Hotel Metropolitan in Paducah.
Oh, that would be four for me. Yes.
Because there's not any place that I know of right now that when you go and you investigate and speak with the spirits, you're speaking with Ray Charles, you're speaking with Sam Cooke, you're speaking with Aretha Franklin, you're speaking with all of these entertainers from, the
We
Motown
got Etta
era.
James.
Yeah,
We,
Wow.
like
yes.
and I mean, the last time we had an event there back in November, like when we were doing one of the Estes methods, like Sam Cooke came through, Aretha Franklin, all of them came through, and
And they love to sing to you.
they
They
did.
they
Wow.
And
they love to sing to you.
one of the guests even got a picture of a shadow standing behind them, like in the curtains. And we got confirmation that Sam Cooke said that it was him that was standing there,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a really, really special location. And every time I go there, like it feels just like home. Like it feels like they're welcoming you in there. They're
Yeah.
wanting their story told. Like I
Yeah.
remember one time we were standing there with Miss Betty who runs it, and it was like 5 or 6 of us standing around the table, and just all of a sudden every one of us got this big, like, overwhelming feeling of emotion. Every one of us started crying.
We
Like,
did.
yeah,
We
it was
did.
the craziest thing ever, and it just felt like that they were thanking us for telling their story and not letting people forget them, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And that's one of the really cool things I find about, of course, here at the jail, it's the same way. It's, forget about just, why the people were in here, but
Right.
just sharing the stories and the history, even if it's just from the every day-to-day life, that's what they want to share. And I love
Right.
going to locations that are like
People
that.
forget, even
Yeah.
convicts were humans. Like they had a
Mhm.
life outside of the penitentiary, right?
Mhm.
So, they had loves, they had wants, and they want those things known because the last thing they want to be remembered for is the fact that they were convicts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And they've been interrogated while they were in here. So when you come in and start interrogating them about why they're there, it's just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's
That's so
kind of,
sad.
yeah.
I'd be
Yeah.
like, yo.
So as far as your events, kind of talk a little bit about what someone can expect from an event with your company.
Well, for one thing, we try to go in with it. We try to go into the events with a investigator's perspective of it. Like, what would we want to happen during an event if we had went to an event or if we were going to an event? And so we try to keep the group small. We try to keep the facts and things accurate as far as what we know, and we try to make sure, for one thing, that the location, that the stories that we're telling are stories that we can
Right.
back up with
Right.
facts or with
Facts.
evidence that we've gotten before.
Yeah.
We don't like to go into a location blind that we've never been there, because we're trying to talk after someone else, and that's not always the best thing to do.
Right.
Right.
And a lot of times during our investigations, we find out more about the locations than we're even being told. Like,
Yeah.
we find other spirits that are there that kind of more or less will only interact with us.
I got asked one time during an Estes if I was a freed color. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
They were like, "Are you a free colored?" And I was like, "Why, yes, I am." Just
Wow.
like, yes, I am.
So you could see that they were aware.
Yeah.
They were intelligent and aware
They were
that
very
what was going
interested.
on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that when you go to a location
Yeah.
and not just, I mean, residual is great, don't get me wrong, but when they're actually when they can see you and they're aware and they're actually having dialogue,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
that is just way cool.
I was like, what? Yes.
Nice.
It's just a really cool experience to be able to be with. And a lot of the people who come to our events have never investigated before.
Mm-mm.
So it's very cool for them to be able to, experience paranormal in a chill atmosphere where people are not like, run, and
Yeah.
just not hyped up. And we provide food.
Yeah, that's always good. So is it typically like a meet and greet with with celebrity, and then also an investigation? Is that typically what, or is it
We
how
have
are they?
we have some of the meet and greets. We've kind of here the last little bit, we've trying to shied away from more of the bigger stars
Yeah.
that are on TV, because I think that this is just me talking. I think sometimes they throw the dynamic off of the evidence that me and JB and Justin and Renee can get when we're together. And I think, as far as the guests go, that they'll have more evidence and more things happen when the four of us are there, based on a big celebrity off TV.
Right.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I've had those. They're nice. But a lot of times the groups, like, there's so many people there, it kind of gets to where you don't know everybody there. And I like to know the people at our events. I like to talk to them, kind of know them personally, know
and then-
what their experiences are and all that stuff. We'll know what they're looking for.
And then when you have some of the bigger, celebrities out there, the groups tend to not want to interact with the employees during their turn of events or whatever, because they still want to be with the celebrity up the top. So it really does throw off a dynamic. We're just kind of, we get maybe 30 people together, and
Oh, nice.
smaller groups, and just have fun with it, see what happens, not plan for anything, but definitely see what happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And not to interrupt, as I do want to come back to that, but since I know you're a little more pressed for time, Ms. Coates, let's I know you've provided some evidence, and I also want to talk about your books. So why don't you go ahead and kind of talk about your books, and we're going to pull up where folks can find them, but just kind of tell us what they're about and what you do with your writing.
I write the Obsidian Guardian novels. My novels are about gargoyles that protect chosen families. The chosen families are all instilled with a magical ability that is found in nature. And if that family line dies out, that part of nature dies out as well. I also wanted to write a book where the female lead was not wishy-washy. So I was reading a book one day, and it was, this woman was like, I want to help, and the guy was like, no, you'll just get in the way and get hurt. And I was like, what is this crap? Like, and I was like, I have daughters, and I know a lot of my friends have daughters, and there's no way that they want their daughters to act like this, you know? So I wanted to put a balance between the male main character and the female main character, where they work together in a balanced way and there's no shift of power. So plus there's sex.
Hey, you can't beat that.
I mean, buy my books, there's sex in it.
That's all you needed to say.
That's right. I know my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's 24. She just read the first one, and she called me and she said, Mama. I said, voodoo. And then my narrator, because I just released Integrity on audiobook. It's available on Audible. Mm-hmm. And my narrator was like, girl, you need Jesus. She's from Canada. And I was like, it's the American way, so that we can corrupt the Canadians one at a time. So yeah, she was like, you need to go to church.
See, even more reason to get the books.
Get the books. Yes.
Absolutely.
And then you guys can go to church on Sunday.
There you go.
But actually, from what I understand, and you know, I love my books. Of course, I'm going to say my books are awesome. But from what I understand, a lot of people love my books. And so I ran into a girl at Starbucks today, didn't even know her from anybody. She's staring at me for like 5 minutes. I go to hand her my card, my business card, and she's like, what's this, love? And I was like, I'm the author of the Obsidian Guardian novel. She's like, oh, I know. I just ordered your 4th book on Amazon. I've been following you since the beginning. And I was like, really? All right. So yeah, I love my books. They're fun to write, and I am working on the 5th one. So you guys, I'm working on the 5th one.
That was going to be my next question, as to whether there were more that was going to be coming out.
Yes, the series is a 6-book series. So
okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see here. We'll wait and we'll present her evidence here whenever she comes back.
Yeah, I always tell people her books are kind of like Gargoyles meets like Twilight, only like a sexier, naughtier Twilight.
You're right.
So while she's doing that, I'm going to pull up, we got a question here from Brandon Cooper. He says, what's your favorite time to investigate?
Well, I don't really have a favorite time. I know like a lot of people will say like the 2-3 o'clock time is the best time, like the witching hour or whatever. But honestly, we've gotten evidence even during the daytime.
I'm like, let's investigate. I realize it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Let's investigate.
Right.
And a lot of times it depends on the location. Like, of course, like Old South Pittsburg, when would be the most busiest time during the day? Logic is like, well, you're going to get definitely a lot of residual, especially during the day. I remember also we've gotten the second shift nurse at the on the 2nd floor. There's a certain time, I think it's around 9 o'clock, that she starts her shift, and you can see her sometimes go down the hallway to check on the patients. Yeah.
And she'll look at you like, what are you doing here? And then she'll just walk off. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing about investigating. The reason why we investigate at night is because it cuts out interference. Basically everybody's sleeping, there's no cars, stuff like that. So it cuts back on the debunking that we'll have to do later while we're listening to the audio or reviewing the video and stuff like that. But I mean, you can investigate 24 hours a day because it doesn't matter. If it's haunted, it's always going to be haunted.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And as Ronnie says in the comments there, if it's haunted, if it's an active location, it doesn't
matter. Yeah. Yeah.
You get some spirits that go to bed at a certain time too.
Right.
That you cannot get any activity, any interaction from after a certain time.
They're like, it's 9:30.
It's like,
you done asked me my name 15 times. I'm going to bed.
Right. Not getting out of bed for that.
No.
So speaking of evidence, I wanted to go ahead and share the evidence that was provided. Okay, I saw it for the first time before the show, and
the reaction was amazing.
It's like, what? So do you want to set this up, or would you rather me play it and then you speak about it?
I was at a location called Audubon Acres, right outside of Chattanooga. I know you know where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it used to be a old plantation, but it's actually where the Trail of Tears started before they turned it into a wildlife preserve. We were there, and of course, you get the history of a location before you actually investigate it. And when I found out all the horrible things that happened there before it was turned into a wildlife reserve, I looked at my partner at the time and I said, I don't like what this place stands for. And from that sentence, I was basically a victim.
I can agree with that. All right, so we're going to go ahead, get this pulled up here, get this queued up. All right, give me 1 second. Start it.
Well, we appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Wow.
You got scratch.
And if you see, the scratches are under my bra strap. So, like, ugh.
So I want to show that again in case people missed that, because that was, yeah.
Even me watching.
Your time.
And that's fresh.
You got scratch. You got 3 scratches right along your back.
And then you have to have the badass.
I swear.
Right?
I mean, that's gonna be my claim to fame forever now. She's a writer, but did you see her get jerked out that chair by her wig? Man.
Oh my goodness.
That's something we caught, because there's been crap that's happened to me that we've not even caught, like that's happened at events that
right.
You can go to some of the people that are at the events. They're like, I've never seen anything like that happen in my life.
Right. Oh, you can follow me on TikTok, JB Coates 1, just, FYI. But it was a pull, Ronnie. I was pulled by my ponytail backwards out of a folding chair. So, yeah.
The look on your face, that's what gets me, is the look on your face when that happens, of just like, what the?
Yeah, I was shocked.
A little bit.
Just a small bit. So it was, and then, I got cussed out by my husband, who was there that night on the way home, because we stopped because we had the cameras rolling. And we wanted to see if we caught it on camera. And what does a paranormal investigator do, right? They rewind it, right? So we rewound it, and we were like, whoa! And then we're like, rewind it again. Whoa! Like, my husband's like, most people would have been like, let's get the hell out of here. And what are you guys doing? Rewind it.
It's like, oh, Oh, I'm glad we caught that. If it's going to happen, it's like you might as well catch it. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean that's a great capture. Wow. Do
Yeah.
you typically, have you had that happen in any other places?
Never before and never after. So yeah, no, it's just been that one night. That both of those scenes were in one night at the same place.
Wow. And like I said, I know you've got to go here in a few minutes. Also want to give you the opportunity to, we showed your books there. Let's talk about your new store that you've got open.
Oh, I'm excited. So I just opened an Etsy store today. Look at all my cool stuff. So you guys can go to Etsy. Chosen Foundry is the name of my Etsy store, and you guys can buy my crap.
I heard her husband make all of it.
We do make it all. We do make it all, except everything is made by us, except for the hoodies. The hoodies were made by Crystal Brooke Craven, who does all of the shirts for Old South Pittsburg and Harriman. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Vicky says, "Love JB's energy."
Yeah.
She's got a customer right now.
Yeah.
Alcoholic.
Not on an Etsy store though.
So yeah, definitely folks, go and check out. We've been trying to put the comments or the links here over in the comment section. We also have, I just found out about her Etsy store when we were talking beforehand. So I've got a lot of links and stuff in the show notes to where you can purchase her books and where you can check out Gregg's event company there. We've got all that there in the comments, or excuse me, in the show notes, but we've trying to put some of this over here in the comments. So definitely go and support these content creators as well as artisans. So I'm sure she'll be back because I think she's got a customer right now. But she can hear us. I just appreciate her taking the time to come on, even though she found out, she had to work. So I appreciate her taking the time. But yeah, so
Hi.
There we go. Ronnie says he thought it was a hot sauce store. But I see Fireball in the background.
There is Fireball in the background.
Hot sauce, liquor, they're both the same to me. I like both.
The
yes.
barbecue, that's it, right there.
Yes. For me, the hotter the better. So it's like, and throw in some coconut rum and I'm set.
And some orange juice.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. I'm with you. When are we going now?
Exactly. We'll set that up as the next event.
That's right.
So what else do you have coming up, Miss JB?
Let's see. That's the thing about me. So I usually don't know what I'm doing until right before they happen. They call me and they say, "Hey, JB, you're supposed to be at blah, 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 blah in 2 weekends." And I go, "Oh, all right." And Gregg kind of keeps me in line. And then Ronnie keeps me in line too. So I really couldn't tell you. Pretty much every event that's at Harriman or Old South Pittsburg, I'm at. Gregg sets up my other events and he's like, "Hey, JB, we're doing blah, 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 blah on this date." And so, yeah, I just show up.
So if people want to attend or get tickets to those events, do they find it there at the event website or find them on the different locations websites?
The different locations websites. So it's Old Haunted, it's Old Haunted, wait. It's Haunted Harriman Hospital. Yeah. Sorry, Ronnie. So Wait a minute. It's Old Haunted Harriman Hospital. It's on Facebook on their events. And then you've got Haunted Old South Pittsburg Hospital, and it's on Facebook as well. And then Greg's are on Paranormal Adventures events, and he usually sends me like little clips, and I post them, and then he puts the ticket information underneath. So yeah, you can find them anywhere, and you can find me on Facebook, JB Coates, and just follow and like.
Yeah, she's just like, where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to be? We were just in Savannah this past weekend at a
Yes, we were
down there too, and
so yeah, my life is very crazy and whimsical. So I really do need somebody to keep me alive.
Well, as Vicky said in the comments here, I think you had stepped away. Love JB's energy. So that's.
I love you too, Vicky. Vicky provided me with my cat, and he's a black cat. His name is Azrael, and she is the grandma. And so I send her pictures from time to time of Azrael. She loves it.
Well, and while we're talking on this, and of course, if you end up needing to go, just let me know. But I wanted to pull up the images that Gregg sent, and if you guys want to talk a little bit about some of the evidence here that's on here in photo.
that one is from Old South Pittsburg. It's the long, they call
Shadow
it
hallway.
Shadow hallway.
Yeah, the shadow hallway.
And this one, I remember taking it. I was basically just taking a bunch of pictures because I felt someone like walking up behind me, like going back, coming back up behind me like 2 or 3 times. So I just started taking a bunch of pictures, and they were all, of course, dark because I didn't have any flash or anything on. But I kind of seen something in one of them, so I used a filter to flip the black and the white, and this is what come up with that.
Wow.
And I was like, yep. I knew there was somebody behind me.
And that's what he said too. He was like, I told you.
Yeah, I told you somebody behind me. I told you somebody brushed up against my arm. You know?
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Any idea who this guy is, and have other people seen him? He looks rather big.
He's very tall. So they talk about the 7-foot shadow person at Old South Pittsburg, and he was only on the 3rd floor for the longest time. And if you saw him, he was only on the 3rd floor. But here recently, he's all over the hospital now.
Yeah, he goes kind of everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
and he usually hangs out in Shadow Hallway quite a bit. I've even sat at the 2nd floor nurses station and had like the ghost box going. And you can hear the other spirits saying, he's coming, here he comes, like, get ready, this, and then you'll see something down the hallway moving or something, and you're like, oh, yep, that's who was coming.
Wow.
So, I gotta go, guys. I love you bunches. Thank you, Miranda, for having me. I love you, little brother. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you so much, JB. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right. So so let's go ahead and look at this one.
So this is another filter to the picture that you'll show next, which it just kind of like shows more in depth what was there.
Okay, I'll go to the other one then. Yeah, show that one first.
I actually took this one in 2000, probably 13 or 14.
Okay,
and it was one of the first times I went to Old South Pittsburg, and of course Ronnie wasn't the owner then. It was too many years back, and I was going through old pictures, didn't even know I had this picture, and come up on it, and I was like, what is the hat? It was like it looked like a shadow kid, kind of. And if you look more in depth, like he's even holding a teddy bear. And,
well, that's what I was going to ask. It looks like he's holding a teddy bear.
Yeah, and I didn't even know they were behind me. I was just like snapping pictures as we went down the hallway. and just happened to run across these old pictures that I had. I think it was on like an old phone or something, or old camera.
Is the teddy bear part of the apparition,
Yeah,
or
it's part of the apparition, and that's kind of the weird
wow?
part. And I have studied it more in depth and looked at it more, and even like the window above the apparition, you
Huh?
can see a face in the window as well. Um,
Wow.
so they're kind of it's kind of all just centered right there in that one part. And I, anybody that's been to Old South Pittsburg and knows where that chalkboard is, they probably know what area that is. And there's usually um, the 7 foot shadow guy usually hangs out there,
Mhm.
and the kids usually hang out on the third floor. But this is just I just happened to catch, I think, what was one of the kids kind of being curious and looking at, kind of at the right time, right place,
Mhm.
right time. So
Yeah. Wow. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that other image back up where it was showing it more in depth.
yeah, it kind of outlines more like what you're seeing. And you can see the
Oh,
face more in the window on this one because it gives it like a different color.
yeah, absolutely. Wow. That's a great capture.
Thank you.
And it what's really cool about that is it goes consistently along with the stories and other
Hmm.
evidence that people have captured in those areas. The first time I went to Old South Pitt was there in 2014 as well.
Hmm.
Let's see. And Ronnie asks, is that the first floor?
Now that is the third floor. Yeah, that's on the third floor. In between the surgery rooms and the nursery, there's like a middle section where they also had rooms. They had like the nurses, like locker rooms, bathrooms. I think they even had like an old clean room that's there. Um, and it makes like a U shape, so you can where that apparition is, you can actually go through all the way to the other side to the nursery.
Okay, I know where you're talking about because I need to pull that picture up. I caught a picture. I was standing there on the other side of the nurse's station facing the nursery area and took two pictures in a row. And on the second one, it looks like a nurse forming that's looking in the window of the nursery.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely, well, the whole thing is an active area.
Yeah.
Let's see. I believe there was. I'm trying to think if there was. Yeah. So there's another picture that you have provided.
Yeah, so this is coming in from the ER area, like from the back of the building. And the weirdest thing, we were investigating, had went to get some food. And when we come back in the ER area, it just felt different from what it felt before. And so we just started snapping a bunch of pictures, and this face come up. But this is in all darkness. So like
Okay.
the stuff that's in behind him, that is some type of apparition or something forming back there too. And it's, if anybody knows it, before Ronnie got Old South Pittsburg, there used to be a car right there.
Oh, that
When
area.
you went in, and
Yeah.
that stuff that's forming behind that face is in behind the car.
Oh,
And at that time, you couldn't even get in behind the car because
wow.
there was no way to get to it.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, because I remember there was, I mean, because at one point in time, you couldn't really do a whole lot in that area other
Mm-mm.
than you could see the car, but
Yeah.
you couldn't really do much else.
And there was something that always hung out by that car during that time, because you could see it go. Like if you were looking down the hallway, you could see it like go back and forth from the ER hallway to behind the car. And again, I guess this was just the right place at the right time. And I always tell people, like, if you go into an area and it feels different than what it did before,
Mm-hmm.
start taking pictures. get your equipment out, whatever, because 9 times out of 10, you'll get something. You'll get some kind of evidence to go along with it.
That's a very, very good point. Excuse me. So, so as far as events and stuff that you guys have coming up, is there any of those that you can talk about? Anything that's coming up?
We have another one coming up in August. As of right now, it's going to be at Octagon Hall. I haven't announced the guest yet, but of course JB will be there because she's kind of a ongoing guest. But the other guests that are going to be there that we're going to be announcing pretty soon, probably toward the end of the month.
Okay.
It's going to be their first event in this area since they moved here. So we get the honor of actually introducing them to the paranormal community here in Tennessee and the Southeast. So
Wonderful, wonderful. And will folks be able to see the announcement of the event on the page that I have pulled up here, the Paranormal events?
Yeah, we'll announce it on there. We might even do a live about it. I'm not really for sure right now announcing who the guest will be and all that, but my one of my other teammates, Renee, is very, very excited about this one because she's the one that kind of turned me on to our guests, and she also knows a whole lot about Old South Pittsburg. She used to be the property manager for Old South Pittsburg, and she done a lot of the history research and things before it opened back up. She was one of the ones that found out a lot about Jim and a lot about the other doctors and the other spirits that are kind of at Old South Pittsburg.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, this will, if folks want to come out and investigate with yourself and your team and Miss Coates, definitely keep an eye. Go check out their Facebook page. We've got the link to that. Are there any links I'm missing?
I don't think so. I think you're pretty good on them.
Okay, good.
We do
good.
have Instagram and I have a TikTok too under the Boo Crew.
Okay.
But the TikTok is kind of a work in progress type of thing. Still a little bit new to that, but the video that you showed to JB, that one actually went viral. Like she's had 600,000 hits on that.
I can understand why. And hers was, let's see, I'm adding this in here to the comments.
I think it's Joy Coates 1, I believe is what her TikTok is.
Okay. And I think it shows it on that, but I'm going to go ahead and pull these up. There we go. And of course, Heath is trying to get you to spill the beans there.
I know there's been several people trying to get me to spill the beans, but like I was telling you before, like you've got to kind of be careful sometimes because you're wanting to introduce people and people will like swoop in and get them before you can even introduce them yourself, and you're like, guys,
Right, absolutely.
Like, throw me alone.
Well, I know that you guys, like I said, have been just really, really busy with things and really got a lot going on here. So I hope that folks will go follow the pages, go check out JB's books as well as her brand new Etsy store. And I hope that you guys will come back when you've got some more events, and when you make some of these announcements, we'd love to have you back on the show.
Yeah, awesome. We would love to come back on, and like we had discussed before, me and you, I'd love to have you for an event. Like if our schedules, can sync to where we can work that out. I think that would be awesome as well.
Well, thank you, Greg. Yeah, I would be honored to participate in one of your events. I would love that.
That'll be great. I'll try to work on something for us. I'll try to work
Nice.
something out.
Yeah, definitely let me know. I know our schedules always get kind of crazy over here with, with the jail and stuff, but yeah, definitely I would love to do an event with you guys.
Yeah, we would love to have you for sure.
Well, if you'll stick around, I've got a few little events or a few little events that I want to cover, and a few little pieces of news here. And but if you'll stick around until after we go off here, I'll talk to you just a little bit after the show, unless you need to rush off.
Nope.
So give me about 10 minutes, and I'll get with you here.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Just wonderful, wonderful people. And so again, thank you guys for your comments and your questions here. Just want to make sure to definitely get to a couple of these. James, I'm absolutely looking forward to some truly haunted items that's coming up here at the Deep South Paracon. Very, very excited about this event. Let me get to a few of the things here. Normally we cover the news and topics and stuff at the front of the show, but I know that we had to step off just a little bit early due to some things that Miss Coates had to take care of. But we did make the announcement here on the Ghost Biker page. Bear with me as I pull a few of these up here. We did share the poster for the Deep South Paracomic-Con that's coming up August 19th and 20th. This is actually their second year. This is going to be my second year participating in it. So I'm very, very excited to be invited back. This year it's going to take place at the Ozark Civic Center, and we've got a lot of folks that's going to be there. So this is just scratching the surface of all the cool things that they have involved on this 2-day event. So again, just very, very excited and honored to be invited back, to be able to be participating in this, and looking forward to seeing you there, James, as well as Miss Sonia Thompson from The Walking Dead. Excited to be back. And that's actually where we met and hit it off as good friends. So definitely be on the lookout for this event. I know they've got tickets still on sale for that. And if you go check out their page on there, you can see some of the great videos, which I still got to get my video put together to go on there. But you can check out the great videos from the different speakers and different people who are going to be involved at that event. Also, I don't have the graphic for that to pull up, but we'll be talking about it more coming up. Very, very honored to be speaking. I think my next event is going to be the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. And this year I was invited to be a speaker at that event. So I can't tell you how honored I am about that, to be surrounded by so many amazing paranormal investigators at this location, because I mean, they have so many different speakers. All the proceeds to that goes to the Wounded Warrior Foundation. So very excited to be doing that. And then give me 1 second here. Actually just received this announcement. We were talking about it at the top of the show. So I'm very excited to be able to actually premiere this announcement. We've got Mr. Brandon Cooper there in the audience there, who is working on this event. This is the event that I spoke about at the very beginning, the Spirits of Deadwood. It's going to take place September 29th and 30th in Deadwood, South Dakota. And I'm extremely honored to be going to the Mecca for motorcycle riders, which is going to be out there, Deadwood, Sturgis area. And the funds for this, it is such an amazing cause. The Sacred Mountain Retreat Center is the main sponsor for this. And guys, look them up, because they do such amazing things for our veterans. And, I'm actually going to share the link here that Brandon was on the news talking about a different location there, but talking about the suicide rates for veterans and the things that these different locations work with our veterans after they come back from their time in service and their sacrifice that they've made for our country. So this is just such a wonderful, wonderful sponsor to have. And so very excited for this first annual event. and to be honored to be a part of that. So we'll be having a lot more information as things are finalized and as more information. But to be surrounded there with by Katie Stafford, as well as Brandy Marie and Mary Lynn and Supernatural Inc., Horn Paranormal. I mean, it's just definitely honored to be part of this event. So that's going to take place September 29th and 30th. It's going to be right at the start of Ghost Bikers season 6, as well as spooky season for everyone, because we all know October brings the spooks. So yeah, definitely very excited about that and to be a part of that. So we'll have Brandon back on, and hopefully the folks from Sacred Mountain here as we get closer to the event to talk about this and highlight more information on that. I do also want to talk about the event that we've got going on this next weekend. We talked about it last week, but very, very excited. This is the 3rd annual Harold Young Memorial Scholarship Dart Run. And we showed a video from last year's event, but I want to quickly show a video from, this was actually from the first year's event. Now, if you don't know what a dart run is, it's like a poker run, except it is a game of skill rather than a game of chance. And so there are 3 locations. You get a hand of darts at each location that you play. First stop is going to be at the Scott County Masonic Lodge down in Robbins, Tennessee, off Sims Road. Second stop is Dillegaff Cycle Shop. And the 3rd stop is going to be here at the historic Scott County Jail. At the 3rd stop, there's going to be a food truck. We're also presenting the scholarship to this year's winner that my family selected. And so we're very honored to be giving that scholarship away. We give $1,000 to a Scott High School student who is majoring in, or who is looking to go into the field of science. And so last year's winner, Miss Gracie King, she's going into the field of nursing. And so we had 10 different folks who applied for this scholarship, and they were going into some really amazing fields, had some great stories that talking about their background and what they were doing there at the high school. So it was a tough choice, but we're excited to be presenting that winner. And we've already had some donations to the scholarship fund. So thank you all so much who have donated. We also have folks who ask, how can I donate if I can't come to the dart run? I'm actually working on getting a link, a donate now button, so that it goes directly to that account. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that will be set up tomorrow and we can present that. But just really excited to bring this for its 3rd year, partnering with the Masonic Writers Association, the Hillbilly chapter. This is our 3rd year working with them. We also work with them on the autism run. But I just got to say, even though we're bikers here, this event is open to all vehicles, not just 2 wheels. If you drive 4, please, even if you walk, whatever you got to do, come out. All vehicles are welcome. Come play a hand of darts. Get you some food it's $20 to participate, and that does include your meal ticket. So yeah, just very excited, and thank you, Janet. You've been a wonderful supporter all 3 years, so we really appreciate that. My dad, he was a 39-year educator in the Scott High and Wartburg school systems, and he taught chemistry and physics, and also in the earlier years biology and general science. So it's something that was very important, and it was very important to him to give students who may not have the best opportunity to do that. That was something that it was extremely important to him. So I'm going to go ahead and show this video right quick. And this is from the 1st annual event. So let me pull this up here and get it queued up. So again, thank you to everyone who has contributed, who has been a part of this event for the past 3 years. And we're excited about this year's event. Again, it takes place next Saturday, which is going to be the 20th. Starts at 10 a.m. You can come out to that first stop. It's not guided. You come out, you go at your own pace, and it goes from about 10 to 2. Around 2 p.m., we'll be announcing this year's winner. He, she, whoever will be there at the event, and we'll be, giving them the scholarship. So we're very, very excited about that. We'll have a little more information about that as it gets closer, as the build up. Just a few other last minute things. And yes, I do actually want to say, Brandon Cooper, he says, I'm a Mason, so I may have to come up for that. We would love to have you here. My dad was a 50-year plus Mason. And so I know that was something that was very important to be able to partner with the Masonic Writers Association, their Widows' Sons Hillbilly chapter. That's why this partnership is so perfect, because he was not only a high school science teacher, but also a Mason. So again, we will be announcing how you can donate, probably fingers crossed tomorrow. Also want to say that we will be closed here at the historic Scott County Jail on Saturday. We're typically open Thursday through Monday, but closed on Tuesday and Wednesday. But we're open for a special event over in Rugby, Tennessee, which is about 20 miles from here. And so they're having their spring fling, their British festival over there. And so we've been invited to be a part of that. And the fact that both Chris and I, it's just the two of us that work here, we're going to have to close down on the day on Saturday. She is actually speaking in West Virginia this weekend. So I'm going to be going over to the event on Saturday. I think it's from 10 until 5. Let's just hope the weather holds out. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty crappy weekend when it comes to weather, but hopefully maybe that will change last minute and we'll be able to be over that Rugby. So we will be closed on Saturday. We do have an investigation Saturday night, so we will be here for that, but closed on Saturday. We'll be back open on Sunday, and one of us, either she or I, will be at Rugby while the other is here. So, so again, a lot of really great things going on. We also have our flashlight tours, our escape rooms, and guided ghost hunts open for the month of May. Working on those for June as well. Some really cool things, some motorcycle rides and stuff that's coming up here at the jail. So please check out the Historic Scott Co. Jail website, as well as Historic Scott County Jail Facebook page and YouTube channel over here, where you can find out more information about the different things that we've got going on here at the jail. So, like I said, a lot going on. Again, thank you all so much over here in the audience for your comments, your questions, and being so gracious with your time and spending it with us. So I really, really hope that you will tune in next week when we have Nando Desario from Portal to the Paranormal from all the way over in the UK. He's going to be staying up extra late to come onto the show next week. And then we will end the month with a doubleheader with Mr. Rex Nielsen. I will be on his show first, which I think is at, I believe it's at 7:30 or 8. I need to double check that. And then he's going to be coming over onto mine. So it's going to be a doubleheader, and that's going to take place at the end of the month. So now that I've thrown everything at you, go out there, check out these pages, check out the event calendars, the online stores, all the cool stuff that's going on. Check those out. Support these folks. And if I don't see you all at Rugby or here at the jail, I will definitely see you next Thursday night on the Ghost Biker Garage Live. And as Mr. James Cunningham says, safe travels, keep the rubber on the road. We will definitely do that. And we will see you guys very, very soon. Take care.